The rest of America wants a secure border and to be safe in their homes. Border agents say they know who they're looking for. NewsNation's Allie Bradley got exclusive access to the numbers. There are 218,260 convicted criminals out of 1.4 million total illegal immigrants with what are called a final order of removal. They should be on a plane out. Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, spoke about the deportations on CNN earlier.
ISIS, they're out there enforcing law out today, and of course, as I've said numerous times, they're concentrating on public safety threats. That'll be our priority right out of the gate. So ICE officers are back to doing their job. I wouldn't call them raids or target enforcement operations. They know exactly who they're looking for. They know pretty much where they'll find them.
Now, Democrats would love nothing more than the stories of families ripped apart for evening newscasts. We went through this once. Trump closed the border, then Democrats reflexively opened it. That didn't work out well for Democrats. For Team Trump to succeed, they must continually remind Americans who they are deporting and why. Former Navy SEAL Jonathan Gilliam will be with us in a minute about the fight against illegal immigration and the cartels south of the border. We go to WGN anchor Ben Bradley, live in Chicago, thankfully inside with us, as that city gets ready to take Donald Trump to task or oppose him. Ben, good to see you. I get why J.B. Pritzker wants to oppose Donald Trump. He thinks it's going to work for him in Iowa or on the campaign trail raising money for president. Why Brandon Johnson?
Well, first of all, J.B. Pritzker doesn't need any money for his presidential campaign. He's a billionaire. Brandon Johnson's got approval ratings almost as cold as our weather in Chicago. Teens, basically. Listen, they have to appeal to their base. What I don't think they get, or they're now beginning to understand a little bit, is that their base, like the rest of the country, has moved. 2.5 million people in the blue state of Illinois voted for Donald Trump. More people in Chicago voted for Donald Trump than they did last time. The interesting thing is, here we are, Donald Trump promised mass deportations on day one. We're 30 hours in, and here in Chicago, which was supposed to be ground zero, we haven't seen any evidence of any deportation so far.
Okay, well, things sometimes take at least more than a few hours to get going. Fair to say there are people being sent back and things at the border we understand are changing significantly. I think this is important, though, and you said that things in Chicago are changing, and we saw a lot of Brandon Johnson's constituents. A lot of African Americans in the poorer Chicago neighborhoods furiously angry over the amount of illegal immigrants and the money being spent on them in Chicago. Has any of Brandon Johnson's
$400 million on 50,000 migrants in the last 2 years? $400 million. Yeah, there's a lot of people in Chicago who are angry about that. And there are a lot of people who are asking, okay, what do we do? The issue is not a Chicago problem, though. The reason Chicago police aren't cooperating with ICE agents is because of a state law signed by a former Republican governor that said local law enforcement, whether you're in Chicago, the suburbs, or downstate, can't cooperate with federal agents for the purpose of deportation and can't ask people or investigate somebody's immigration status. So, that's great reporting that Allie Bradley did to find that number of criminally convicted immigrants who are here, who will be first, supposedly, on the deportation list. But if those folks are in jails or prisons in the state of Illinois, even if one was supposed to get out tomorrow, those folks who are running the jails can't call up ICE and say, hey, we got a guy coming out tomorrow. He's on your list. Come get him.
Fascinating. And let me just put a button on this. I don't think J.B. Pritzker is introducing any legislation to change that law, right?
He's not. His rhetoric has changed a little bit, saying that he agrees convicted criminals should be deported. But so what, you go through the legal process, which takes 2 or 3 years sometimes to get a trial in Cook County here in Chicago. So, I don't know that while his rhetoric has changed a little bit, the effectuality of it, he's still saying, hey, if you get charged with murder tomorrow and you're an illegal immigrant, well, we got to wait until you're tried.
Well, and also, and I'll take the last word here, he's the same guy who said, if you want to come for my people, illegal immigrants included, you have to come through me. I'll refrain from any reference to what it would take to come through J.B. Pritzker. Ben Bradley, thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.